The kid's gonna be okay, and who knows? The Breaker Barracks. Many straight shooters learn their way here. The Breakers used to come here for target practice. Used to play a little game. See who could bust the most targets in the fewest shots. He's focused, he's armed, and he's off. Perfect shot just happens in a flash. Puts on the right solid performance. Kid ain't had enough of the Breaker's barracks. Takes practice, and a mighty strong bow helps too. He's feeling real proud of that show. I almost don't believe it when he says he passed the Breaker's challenge. That's Windbag Ranch. Perfect place to work a blade if you got the stomach for it. Wind was built for gathering squirt extract in copious supply. Ain't nothing more healthful. Some folks showed up to make a fast buck with nothing but a knife. Other folks came to train their throwing arms. Place gets awful slick sometimes. Still others use the place to test their finest blades. Always time for juice and squirts, they used to say. At least the little fellas can't feel a thing. Some squirts tried to bleed on instinct. Best to put them away first before they rile up the others. slippery little devils. Kid makes short work of them things. The ranch was always looking for good help. Kid carves through all of them in a flash. Well, the kid's gone and struck terror in the hearts of squirts everywhere. That's Zolwood Grove. A nice, quiet place to show a musket a good time. Ever felt a Zolwood gourd? Like picking up broken glass barehanded. At Zolwood Grove, marshals learn to make every shot count. The trick was to pop all those nasty gourds without wasting ammo. Most marshals didn't get far in the first few tries. Catch a bunch of those gourds in a single shot. Funny thing about muskets is they work best up close. The best of the best clear the course in just a few shots. Kid probably could have made himself. The city's unwanted thing, guard. Folks who fouled up will do their time here, smashing things to bits. The quicker they worked, the sooner they could go. Folks learn to plant their feet and put their backs into it. Others will plot a course to navigate that sea of junk. A good day smashing can feed a family for a week. Kid pays another visit to the scrapyard for old time's sake. Worked too slow and all you got was a sore back. Some folks invested their earnings to forge even better hammers. Always plenty there for smashing. Working the yard did have its risks. Strongest, fastest folks earn more than their fair share. The kids worked the yard before, but that time it just plain destroyed it. That's Trapper Shingle, only place in the city to go to get certified with a repeater. No place better than Trapper Shingle for learning to tread light and shoot straight. Trappers had to tread real careful here, else take a nasty fall. They train themselves by clearing out the targets, while not clearing out the floor. Any good trapper knows never to take a step till the time is right. A decent trapper wouldn't walk away empty-handed. Kid decides to keep working his aim and footwork on the shingle. Best time to pick a new spot was when swapping magazines. Expert trappers got something extra to give them an edge. Master trappers got what they needed for a better hunt. The trappers would have been impressed with how the kid handled the shingle. Now the weight of the world's behind us every swing. Even the army never issued carbines in such fine shape. It's no longer a weapon, it's a precision instrument. Taught him a little something from my days on the front. That mortar's gonna leave a lasting impression. Taught him an old trick from a galleon gunner I once knew. On the inside, a fire bellows ain't nothing like its more popular air-spitting cousin. Toughest thing about using that gas can is keeping a grip on it. That thing wasn't always meant to be a weapon, but there's no denying it now. First step to learning the Calamity Cannon is knowing about the machinery overrides. Good thing I didn't throw away the manual. Take my word for it, don't ever drop one of those. Looks like our little science project is all set. You want to tune a scrap musket, you start with the barrel. The marshals learn to pack those shells full of fire. To master the musket, you gotta get rid of the recoil. Now we're looking at some serious firepower. Now that's what I call a knife. Now he can shoot that fang repeater all day long. Takes a careful touch to rattle those bones like that. Kid packs a special surprise in every one of those arrows. His bow's looking lean and mean like a prize fighter. Ain't that the finest breaker's bow you ever seen? The inspiration. A forge can fashion anything. Welcome to Grady Incinerator, home of the hottest wings east of Caelandia. In all seriousness, the incinerator was a dump, and it had a problem with peckers. Blasted things would swoop in and spread trash all around, until we started eating. We couldn't just torch them all at once. We had to use restraint. Keeping the incinerator clean was a paying job, but not a pleasant one. Know how we kept the city clean? We put all our trash in Grady Incinerator. Peckers that flock together were easy pickings. Wasn't any other way to teach those peckers some respect. Who knows why we fought so hard? The cinders kept the city good and warm, made it thrive. The Ura probably didn't know they were being watched from Manser Observatory. It was the perfect spot to test something no one's meant to know about. Only trouble was, something about the place drove the windbags crazy. Best stand well clear of that impact. Hefty thing like that takes getting used to. Gotta point her in the right direction. When the windbags caused enough trouble, the observatory, whatever gets in her way is in a world of hurt. But she ain't the fastest thing. The Mansers conducted their most secretive research far east of the city. You can cause a lot of collateral damage with her if you ain't careful. The more crowded it gets, the more trouble you can cause with a single shot. She's designed to be fine-tuned, just need the proper parts. Not much left of the observatory when the smoke clears. That experiment was a rousing success. If only the Mancers could have seen their favorite toy. The dynasty, to the families of the city, all reunited. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. The marshals would have been downright jealous. You don't want to know what he did to that thing, but believe me, it works. Wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of those. The Armada sure could have used one of these back in the day. Boundless Bay used to be a weapons test and dry dock. Ain't never been this dry, though. Celandia's Armada was a glorious sight, and our ship's mortars were unstoppable. At Boundless Bay, our Navy put those mortars through a rigorous inspection. Had to use squirts to simulate explosive impact on the surface of the sea. Choosing targets with those mortars was one of the trickiest parts. Galleon skippers needed to be patient, needed to fire at just the right times. Sounds like the kid's mortar's in tip-top shape. If you got a thing for heavy artillery, then I've got the place for you. A variety of modifications could be used to enhance the power of a mortar. If the Galleon mortar couldn't squish enough squirts, it was simply replaced. You could almost see the fireworks over Boundless Bay. Good thing we got to that mortar before the beasts of the wild learned how to use it. The skippers delivered us from the motherland. Caelandia's army only took the best, and the best of them trained on Trigger Hill. The Triggers believed they were nothing without their rifles. Nothing beats the feel of shooting a Caelandian army carbine. Sometimes you had to take care to steady your shot. The Triggers had clearance to modify their guns however they chose. Some felt the course was too easy, so the Triggers spiced things up a bit. Kid blows through that course like it was nothing. The Caelandian army would have recruited him in a flash. The Triggers, my brothers, bravest men I ever knew. The service, for all the men and women who serve Caelandia. A pinch of fairy dust, and it's all set. And that's everything. Mother knows he's paid his dues in that forge. Graver gimlet tastes different the longer you swish it around. Miraculous stuff. The Bastion, Caelandia's safe haven, once the highest point in the city. Too bad it wasn't finished before the calamity struck. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. Catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Ceylondia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. In the history of Caelondia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that. All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back. Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him. Well, he finally arrived at Caelondia's vaunted safe haven. He and no one else. But then, all he got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made them real, not me. I'd like to say I'll never forget him, or what he's doing, what he's done. I surely would. The Breakers. Ain't no one can outrun them. Or their arrows. Seems Zia's cooking got the best of him. think the gods are gonna help? Hensa. Could use a little shut-eye, I suppose. The Calamity took everything from us. Might be it took even more from Zulf. They met on the worst day of Zulf's life. There in the Hanging Gardens, he aimed to throw it all away. It wasn't the first time Zulf had nothing to lose. He was born to a simple Ura couple who didn't last long before plague took him. He grew up hungry in the tunnels of the Tassel terminals, so he took to stealing from a Ceylandian missionary living there. He once got sloppy with his thieving hands. The missionary caught him, but didn't rat him out. Instead, he offered to take him in. That missionary raised Zulf like a gentleman, like he was his own son. Taught him theology, history, and mercy. When the missionary passed away, Zulf promised to continue his work to bring about a lasting peace between the Ura and Ceylandia. Zulf started teaching the missionaries wisdom to any Ura who would listen, and listen they did. He advocated tolerance and argued that the Ura should atone for the war. He believed the city had much to teach his people. However, Zolf felt he could only do so much in the Tassel terminals. He needed Caelondia to know the Ura had changed. He decided to do what the missionary did many years before. He left the city of his youth to brave a savage land. The journey was hard, but he knew how to fend for himself. And then at last, Zolf saw the rippling walls on the horizon. He endeared himself to city folk straight away, and in turn he fell in love with the city and its people. One in particular. This young lady was fascinated by the Ura, but she never met anyone like Zolf. She told him she knew all the city's best-kept secrets. The Hanging Gardens was their favorite spot. It was there that Zolf clasped her hands and proposed in proper Caelondian style. He celebrated with his friends long into the night. Joy and revelry like he'd never seen. Too bad he couldn't remember it all. He woke up alone underground inside the Ura Caelondian War Memorial, built like an Ura den. But something was wrong. Emerged from that hole in the ground into a waking nightmare. Everything that wasn't gone was twisted upside down. The world was frozen, air thick with ash. What few faces he saw on the street stared back at him with gray and vacant eyes. wife-to-be asleep inside her home. But when he reached out to her, she joined with all the ashes in the sky. So Zolf returned to where he proposed in the Hanging Gardens, and there he stood, as if the gods would answer him. The marshals kept the city's peace. They can rest easy now. The faith. Mother, this one's for you. That's the Bullhead Court. Folks defended themselves there with shields, not words. The accused always got a fair shake in Zealandia. Some used to take the Bullhead trial. Survive the trial without taking a scratch, you'd walk away a free man. Some folks wound up taking the coward's way out. trial taught folks three things. First, a good defense is a good offense. Second, you gotta always watch your back. Third, ain't no godlike bull up there gonna save you. A lot of folks never made it out of there in one piece. Court is back in session for the kid. Old ritual for when folks believed there was this godlike bull watching over them. Had to make do with nothing but a shield. Some folks wound up taking the coward's way out. A lot of folks never made it out of there. Some folks wound up taking the coward's way out. A lot of folks never made it out of there in one. Some folks wound up taking the coward's way out. lot of folks never made it out of there in one piece. Some folks wound up taking the coward's way out. A lot of folks never made it out of there. Some folks wound up taking the coward's way out. lot of folks never made it out of there in one piece. The menders, they had thankless jobs, the most important kind. Never thought I'd see that thing completed, not in this life. The smarter ones knew when to just step aside and let things go. The kid pulls through in fine form. Well, the kid always wanted to compete in the bullhead trial.